Well, hey there, Amanda here, and today I want to talk to you about how trying to moderate your relationship with alcohol is a lot like taking back a shitty ex-boyfriend. Now, if you don't know me, I work with high-achieving women who drink in the gray area, meaning that they're not every once in a while drinkers who can just kind of take it or leave it when it comes to drinking, but they're also not addictive alcoholic drinkers. They're kind of following in this middle normal range where they're drinking a little more than they want and they're ready to change that relationship with alcohol. But so many of the women who I work with, myself included as a former gray area drinker, have this fantasy that maybe after taking a long enough break, they will be able to just kind of magically moderate their relationship with alcohol. They've kind of romanticized this idea of being the every now and again drinker, and I totally get that. And not that it's not possible, but I want to kind of reframe this for you, because what I find more often than not is that we go about trying to get to that moderate factor or get to that change in relationship in the wrong way, and it really does us a disservice, because it's easy to make the change, but there's so much more groundwork we need to lay underneath of that to make the change stick. So let me kind of run you through this scenario. Let's say you've been dating this guy and he's not the most wonderful guy you've ever met, but he's also not like an abusive physically or verbally type person. He's just kind of like not great, and he drags you down, and despite all of that, you really have a hard time breaking up with him because you've invested time in the relationship. He makes you feel cozy. You don't want to date again. You feel comfortable in the relationship, but like it or not, you realize that he's not good for you and he's not helping you out in any way and helping you live the life that you dream of and that you deserve. So you decide, you know what? I'm gonna break up with him. That's what we're gonna do. And you take about 3 or 4 months off, and lo and behold, he comes knocking at your door and wants to meet for coffee. And he assures you that things have changed, that things will be different this time, that he wants to get back together and give another shot. So you say yes. And there's this honeymoon period where, you know what, things are actually pretty okay. And then as time passes, you start to slip back into the same old patterns and the same old behaviors. So you say, nope, not anymore. Cutting that out again. And so you take another break, you do the thing, you take the time off, and he comes back, and you decide, you know what, this time I'm gonna be smart. We're not just gonna get back together. No. I can't see me living my life without you, but I also know that you're not that great. So what I'm gonna do is set up some boundaries. And what I'm gonna do is try and have my cake and eat it too. So what we'll do is we'll just hook up, okay? Now, how does this sound like a good idea? If you had one of your close girlfriends come to you and tell you this, you would say, heck no, sister, wake up. That is not good for you. Setting boundaries and, getting back together with someone who has not been good for you in the past is not going to be good for you if you haven't both done some really tremendous work. Now, let's say in this time that maybe you have done some work. You've gone to therapy, you've read the books, done some personal self-help and whatnot, but guess what? Old alcohol over here isn't reading any books. They're not doing anything, and neither is your ex, more than likely. So unless you're really getting in there and doing some more foundational work, what you're going to find is you're right back in the hamster wheel. Checking the box of taking the time off isn't really going to get you the results that you want. Now, what I have found to be more successful is that there's actually 3 components of successfully reframing your relationship with alcohol. The first is taking the break, and many of you have checked that box before. The second is gathering the tools you need to navigate the world alcohol-free, especially a world that's particularly obsessed with drinking. And the third is to really get in there and discover and reprogram the subconscious limiting beliefs that have kept you stuck in the behavioral patterns that you keep returning to. If we don't go back and reprogram these things, then we will keep going back to the same habits over and over again, no matter how much of a gap we have in the relationship, no matter how much time we take apart. We have to really go back and reprogram these beliefs, and also reestablish a sense of self-worth. What we said when we continue to bring something back into our life that's destructive is that we don't value our own self-worth. That's the same with alcohol as it is with a romantic relationship. So while I think that we many of the times have this kind of romanticized vision that things might be better the next time around, that doesn't typically work for romantic relationships, and it's not going to work for your relationship with alcohol unless you really get in there and do the work. Now, the cool thing is, what I find is that much like relationships where you kind of have this fantasy of, oh, well, I just want to be friends. I want to be able to be around that person and be, have a good friendly relationship with them, which is kind of what moderation is. You think, oh, we'll just be friends. We'll kind of be a little more casual with our relationship. what I find is that if you take all three of those steps, that more often than not, you don't even have a desire to have that thing in your life, have drinking in your life anymore whatsoever. So moderation becomes a thing of the past, and most of the women who I work with decide that, you know what, that thing is just not, this doesn't have a place in my life anymore, much like you would find for an ex who just wasn't for you. So I hope that helps in reframing what moderation looks like and why so many people get it wrong and so many people struggle with it. I'm gonna drop some information down in the boxes below, linking to my upcoming program, Alcohol Freedom, where I teach you how to go through all three steps of those process so that you can successfully decide from a conscious place of high self-worth what you want your relationship with alcohol to look like moving forward. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if this new reframing helps you. Comment down in the comments below and I will get back to you.